Let's see.
One second. I never used the hello. Oh, what the fuck is all this? Yeah. I'm just trying to make it work.
Take your time. I can see you. I think it's recording.
Yeah. I think it's fine. Can move to being. Okay, here we go. It's the first time I'm using Zoom. Usually I'm using a Skype. So how are you?
I am, alhamdulillah, I am very thankful to have you.
I'm happy to be with you. Let me see if I can make it bigger. The sound is good. Okay, got it. Yeah. Oh, the quality is rather good.
Yeah, it's very good. That's why it's Zoom.
It's my first conversation with a female imam.
Welcome.
I think are you the only one in the world or what?
Well, there are many others, thankfully.
Really?
I'm not the only one. There are a few imams in America. A friend of mine is an imam, Soraya Dean. And there are others also in Germany and in Europe. There are in France. There is one. The one in France actually mocked me. She doesn't like me, I think.
Oh, really? Why is that?
I wanted to engage with her on Twitter, and she didn't like that.
I understand.
I don't know. I don't know.
Nobody's perfect, and you cannot just please everybody.
That is true. That is true. And I'm very passionate, and sometimes too passionate, and people like some.
No, never. One cannot be can be too passionate. Passion is the basis of everything.
Can you repeat that?
Sorry?
You said some very wise words. Could you repeat that?
I said you cannot please everybody at once, or I said you're never passionate enough, or I don't know.
You said you can never be too passionate.
Yeah, you can never be too passionate. I don't think so.
I think this is the title of our interview.
Okay, cool. How long is it going to take? Because I have an appointment. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit late, but I'm going to have an appointment after you. How long is it going to take, roughly?
Maximum 40 minutes, but as much as you have.
Okay, well, it could be between half an hour and 40 minutes will be fine.
Great.
Just
that's all we need.
Shoot the questions. I'm here. I'm ready to answer. I'm sorry I didn't shave. Is my hair okay? Yeah.
You look very good. Men don't need to do anything. They always look good. This is the difference between men and women.
Sometimes we look good on the little image that we see here on the computer, and then later on I watch myself on many international televisions that sometimes ask me to give an interview. And I look at myself and say, oh my God, what the fuck? What am I doing there? It's horrible. So sometimes, I don't know. But anyhow, I'm not here to be elected Mr. Universe, but to talk seriously about stuff.
Yes, exactly. Well, we know each other for a long time. I've known you, I think, for at least 2 decades, because you've been in my picture since I was studying about Judaism and about Israel and about how the peace in development. I was interested in what was happening in the Holy Land, and I bumped on your movies. And the one striking thing is that struck me about your documentaries is the boldness and the passion and the, how do you say, you took very big risks to make those movies, and they are sometimes like very dark as well. And it's like you're watching.
Unfortunately.
It was like, you know, who is this guy and why is he making these movies? Why is he taking all these risks as a Jew, going to Gaza, interviewing terrorists? It's like out of this world. What pushed you to do this?
Well, the thing is, first of all, I hate injustice. I hate injustice and lies. And I belong to a people that have been tortured and massacred and dominated and exploited for 20 centuries, whether in the Christian world and in many cases as well in the Muslim world, where we were treated as dhimmis. I myself was born in Algeria, and my childhood was a childhood within the war. I was not able to have friends. I was not able to go out to play with kids. I would just go to school and back. And one day my school was bombed by the National Liberation Army of Algeria, who were considered as terrorists.
Why
And
are
they
they
bombed
bombing
this.
school children's schools?
No, because this is what they do. This is what terrorists do. This is what they do in Israel. This is what we are doing in Algeria, and this is what we were. I mean, the principle of terrorism is to inflict terror. And the best way to inflict terror in order to gain a political, to reach a political aim is to kill the people who are going to be the most fragile, who are really going to shock the society that you're targeting. So you target children and women or elder people, it's much more efficient than to target soldiers. I mean, you don't create terror by targeting soldiers. If you're targeting soldiers, it's a war. So soldiers fighting soldiers, even though the other soldiers don't wear a uniform, they are soldiers of their army, an army of terrorists. But they become.
Can I interrupt
Sorry?
you? But it's
Sure, please.
forbidden. I want to add to this that Algeria is a Muslim country. It is forbidden in Islam to attack civilians, to attack innocent civilians.
Well,
it is forbidden.
You are an imam, you're a Muslim, and you're a Muslim following the rules of your religion. You're not a political Muslim. Political Muslims have an agenda, which is not your agenda. They are trying to conquest the world. They are trying to destroy Israel. They wanted to establish a caliphate, and within the caliphate, they were massacring people. They were Muslims as well. Daesh, ISIS, whatever you want to call them, they were Muslims. You cannot say they were not Muslims. And let's say among the Jews, we also have extremists. Yes. We also have people who are doing things which are against the Jewish religion, because they have an agenda which is not the agenda of everybody in Israel, 90% or 95% of Israeli population. But we also have a few extremists. They are not violent, but they are capable of doing things which are really against every principle of religion. So in your case, Islam expanded through jihad. It didn't expand it by giving candies. It expanded by telling people, you want to do business with us, you must become a Muslim. You want to survive, you have to become a Muslim, etc., etc. It's been going on for quite a long time. Now, let's say during a certain period of time during the colonization, Muslims were under occupation of England and France and Italy. And a lot of the rules that they were applying in the past, like the rules of dimitude, the rules for the dhimmi, didn't apply anymore. And they were very frustrated not to see these rules applied anymore. For instance, for them, Jews living in Palestine, they were dhimmi. Once the Jews became independent and created their own state, they were no longer dhimmis. So what is that? Those people were inferior to us. They were being protected under Islamic rules, and now they are independent, and they don't pay the jizya anymore, which is a tax that only non-Muslims pay.
But isn't the jizya paid?
Sorry?
But isn't the jizya paid because Jews were not obliged to wage jihad? They were protected, but they were not.
No. The rules of the dhimmi are very complicated, and they were invented by Caliph Omar. When he conquered Jerusalem, and he saw that there were a lot of Christians and Jews, and according to the basic rules of Islam, they should have been slaughtered. He said, no, we're not going to slaughter them, we're going to protect them. But in order to protect them, they have to obey certain rules. So they have to pay jizya to be Christians and not being killed. But on the same time, they cannot give a testimony against a Muslim. They cannot have a horse, because if they ride a horse, they will be higher than a Muslim. They cannot walk on the right side of a Muslim, because every Muslim has two angels, angel of the good on the right and angel of the bad, of evil on the left. So if a Jew or a Christian would walk on the right side of a Muslim, he could damage his angel of the good, so he didn't have this right. A list of rights, of obligations and duties dealing with dhimmis It was long and complicated. But the people of today, the terrorists, the Muslim terrorists, I mean, you can call them Islamist terrorists, Muslim terrorists, extremist terrorists, whatever, but they all do it in the name of the way they think about Islam. The people who want you to wear a veil and not to have a little décolleté. And
I can have a veil now.
yeah, well, yeah, they would like you to be 24/7 like this. The same people who are not giving you your freedom as a human being and as a woman because they don't really care what is written in the Quran, but they care for other things which have been added later. Like, you know, people take religion to what I was going to say, to fulfill an agenda that they have. To get religion, when you're a religious leader, most of the time is to get a certain power. Christians, during centuries, they invented a billion rules which had nothing to do with the teaching of Jesus, just to keep power. The popes and the bishops, and they were capable of the worst things in the world because they had this power. And you would take them only to confess on a Sunday. Yalla, everything is okay. I said about my sins. Now I can continue doing them. It's all hypocrisy. I know this is not your thing. It's not my thing. And in the midst of all that, as myself, to continue my story, I was born in Algeria, lived in Algeria until I was 10 years old. The connection between Jews and Christians and Muslims were absolutely not at all what they are saying today they were, at least not in the capital Algiers. Everybody was living with each other. My father was a dentist. His clientele was mostly Muslims. I was in school. In my school, there were like 10, in my class, there were maybe 10 French people and 30 Arabs living in Algeria. It was like a community, everybody. Yes. And then it became political and people wanted to take the power and they invented a lot of bad stories.
The terrorists over in Algeria.
In Algeria. So they bombed my school. They bombed my school. A bunch
they
of
bomb
kids
even
died.
Muslim children. They bomb Muslim and Jewish children.
It was a French school, so we don't care. It's like the Hamas when we target Israel with the rockets. You have to know that about 20% of the rockets that they are firing at Israel, they fall within Gaza, and those are the rockets who are killing the most people. Not Israeli rockets or missiles, because Israel is careful to call in advance and to tell them we're going to bomb this house, leave, you have 1 hour to leave. Or Israel doesn't want bad publicity. And also there is a certain morality in the army. Or there is a certain morality in the army and they don't want bad publicity.
So there is like precision in what you...
It's precision. So how is it possible that with all those precisions and warnings and all that, we still kill children? For 3 reasons. Number one, the Hamas is using them as human shields. They put them in places where they have rocket launchers or where they have training camps or whatever, and they force them to stay there because it's good material for the media. So they are
also killing children, just like the ones that bombed your school. That's what you're
exactly. They don't care about, you know, for an extremist, a child is a soldier. Just yesterday, Nasrallah, the head of the Hezbollah, Shiite organization belonging or in connection with Iran in Lebanon, he said officially there are no human beings in Israel, only soldiers and settlers. That's it. So I'm not a human being. I live in Israel. I'm not a human, according to him. So this is the way they think. There was this woman who organized a terror attack in a pizzeria in 2003, 2004. She was arrested and then she was liberated during an exchange of prisoners. Now she's in Jordan and she became a TV star. She started having her own TV show in Jordan.
She's a terrorist.
And one day she was...
And she's a TV star.
Yeah, she was a murderer. She was a killer.
And Jordan is publishing her on television.
Yeah, and America is trying to force Jordan to give her away because she's been condemned in America and in Israel because she killed American kids in this pizzeria. So because she killed Americans, they are entitled to ask for extradition.
How
Jordan
can
doesn't want to give her away.
Jordan publish a terrorist that hasn't served her prison years on television as if she's a hero? How is this possible? Jordan is a peaceful nation.
They hate Israel. It's a peaceful nation, and they made peace with Israel at the level of the king. But each time there is a new Congress, we are talking about their judicial system, most of the members of their Congress hate Israel, and they're always trying to push laws to stop the peace with Israel, to withdraw from the peace agreement, and et cetera, et cetera. And the king is not letting that happen. And also, if Israel wasn't there, Jordan would explode the next day, because Israel is under the protection of Israel. Our army is 100,000 times more powerful than their army. And each time we know that a terror attack is going to be organized against the king, we call him, we send men, we help. Yeah, Jordan, we have a peace agreement. So we are trying to make, lately we've signed a deal for 40 billion cubic meters of water with Jordan, because they need water. So we are selling, we organize now in Israel. 20 years ago, we didn't have enough water. But
so
now we have this
Jordan at the moment in all kinds of ways, by offering protection, by offering water. But still there is like a terrorist being published on television as if she's some kind of hero. What are the Muslim leaders doing, international Muslim leaders? Because I hear about international Muslim movements trying to promote peace and understanding, and they are trying to give priority to peace. What are they doing against these terrorists that are finding inspiration in certain imams that say this is Islam, which it obviously isn't?
They don't do anything. They don't really do anything, because first of all, the good imams like yourself can be in danger. You can be in danger for being a peaceful person, for not respecting the strict rules that they would like you to respect. You as a woman,
I actually respect the strict rules. You know, the strict rules say it is forbidden to kill innocent people. I descend from jihadists. You know, my ancestors were all jihadists fighting against Spanish colonizers, but it was forbidden for them to attack civilians. We only attacked with limited means. We were farmers. We fought against big armies from Spain, and we won. And their retaliation was that they sent German gas bombs and they bombed our villages, innocent civilians. This was, you know, the West was doing this to us. And after that, we had to give up because we saw that we were massacred. You know, we couldn't stop that. You know, they didn't fight with us in a normal war. They fight like a terrorist war. They attacked civilians, even animals. So I am personally against anything that is attacking civilians. And it's based in our Islamic rules. You know, it goes against our fundamental basics of Islam.
But today, it's the Islamists who are attacking civilians. Today, I mean, in France, you had so many terror attacks. They all are doing that, shouting Allahu Akbar. They are not doing it shouting Christ is great or I love Moshe Rabbeinu.
This is not the Muslim way. They copied it from the West. I don't think this is based in Islamic fundamental teachings.
They were raised in Syria, in Iraq. They were receiving instructions from Wahhabists, from Salafists. You have Islam, and within Islam, you have all those sects. Salafists, you are not a Salafist, you are not a Wahhabist, you are not a Shia, you are not an Iranian, you are a Sunnite, but a moderate Sunnite. And we have in Israel, within Israeli population, something like 1.7 million Muslims, and 90% of them, they are peaceful and they live within the society. When I go to the pharmacy, usually it's a Muslim who takes care of me, and they are all. We have no problem with them. We have no problems. The problem is with the high level of corruption. The problem is with Mahmoud Abbas and the gang around him. The problem is the Hamas and the money they are receiving from Qatar and from Iran. And the more they kill Jews and the more they provoke and the more they establish an atmosphere of war, and the more money they make, and the more power they get.
And
And in
where
the
do they
meantime,
get the money? From Qatar and Iran. So they pay them according to how many Jews they kill.
And unfortunately to European Union, from European Union as well.
The European Union also is paying them to attack
Of
people.
course, of course. There are so many anti-Semites within the European Union. There are some at the level of the governments. You know, for some of them, Hitler didn't finish the job. So if we can finish the job for Israel, it's fine. You have today a lot of Nazis are getting closer to Islamists because they have in common the destruction of the Jews, the extermination of the Jews. It's one of the things they have in common. And, Hitler hated the Jews, but he also hated the Christians, at least the Catholics. He wanted Germany to be a country of belonging to ancient gods like Odin and Wotan and gods which have nothing to do with Judeo-Christianity, because Judeo-Christianity is supposed to be a peaceful religion in the texts, at least. But Hitler admired Muslims, at least the ones who were in Syria and in Egypt, and in those days wanted to fight and wanted to get rid of the British and of the French. So there was an automatic alliance between them. And when the war was over, a lot of the Nazis found refuge, whether in Jordan, Egypt, Lebanon, Syria, and they spread a higher level of anti-Semitism, which didn't exist within the Muslim world before, because the Muslims didn't hate the Jews.
So these Nazis that found refuge in Muslim countries like Lebanon and Syria, they spread Nazism. Because I wanted to ask you about this, because I noticed that in the Hamas foundational papers, there was
the charter
of Hamas. So, thank you. There was a big piece that was like about the protocols of Zion, which is a known forgery, and they have it in their manifestation. And even PLO, I discovered that big leaders from the PLO were talking about the protocols of Zion being.
You know what this is? This is the Hebrew translation of Mahmoud Abbas' thesis that he wrote to get to be a doctor of philosophy and sciences when he was in Moscow. The whole thing is about how the Jews were the accomplice of Adolf Hitler. The accomplice of Adolf Hitler. Hitler, according to Mahmoud Abbas, was a Jew, and he wanted to make the Jews like a super duper, like the Rothschilds and only the rich Jews. And in the meantime, get rid of all the poor ones. So that was a plan, but it was a Jewish plan. That's according to Mahmoud Abbas.
Dissertation as a student?
Yeah. When he was studying in Moscow, actually, he was a member of the KGB. It's been discovered lately that Mahmoud Abbas was a member of the KGB. Yeah, I don't remember his nickname as a KGB agent, but he participated to the invention of the Palestinian people in 1964. Because all of this is a forgery. There was no Palestinian people.
There was no Palestinian. How were they called? Arabs?
Arabs, yeah. If you would go to Jerusalem in 1945 and tell an Arab you're a Palestinian, he would punch you because it was an insult. Because in those days, until 1948, a Palestinian was a Jew. The Jews were calling themselves Palestinians because Palestine was a region of Syria under the Ottoman Empire. And then in 1917, the British dominated the region. They defeated the Ottomans and the French also. So they just went together and they sat around the table and they said, okay, this is how we are going to draw the borders of all the countries. Everything okay? You lost me?
Yes, I'm looking at the time. Yes, we're still here?
Yeah, I'm still here.
And you can see me?
You can see. Yes.
I want to show you a present. I will go and get it. It's a very special present from Gaza. Because, I heard about your life story because it started with you as a child that was attacked by war bombs from terrorists. So I think this is also about you and about how children can find happiness and peace. I received this as a gift from my brother. It's like a message in a bottle from Gaza, from
Okay.
a girl from Gaza, and she wrote this wish, and she said like Ana Ahlam. I always have this letter with me. It's her dream.
Mm-hmm.
And so I promised myself that I will do everything I can as an avant-garde imam to realize her dream, because she dreams. Her name is Zahra, and she's 10 years old, and she's from the school from Gaza. And her dream is to live in nature and to have flowers and to be happy. And
You know, uh, I'm going to tell you a very sad story. My wife that I married last year, when she's from India, she's Indian. She's an Indian Jew.
yes,
Okay, and with her parents, they moved to Israel when she was 8 years old. And when they arrived in Israel, there was a place in Gaza called the Gush Katif, where there
heard
were a
about it.
lot of
Yes,
Jews. Yeah, you heard about it. And this was the place very, very beautiful trees and gardens and factories, and they were also harvesting vegetables and all that. And in 2005, Ariel Sharon decided to give Gaza, all of Gaza back to the Arabs, to the Palestinians. So they withdrew all of the Jews, including our family. 10,000 Jews were living there, and they had to move back, to move within the official borders of Israel. For 5 years, they lived in a caravan. They didn't have a place to
5 years
stay.
they lived in a caravan.
5 years. From a beautiful house on the beach, they moved to a caravan, okay? But what happened is that, of course, all the houses were destroyed because they didn't want the families to see other families living in their houses after having been expelled. So they destroyed all of the houses, but they left all of the factories and all of the plantations and all of the greenhouses and all that for the Palestinians to develop an economy. The next day, the Hamas and everybody, they rushed to those places and they destroyed everything. It was impure because the Jews have been working in that. So instead of being able to harvest vegetables and fruits and develop a local economy, thanks to whatever was built by the Jews in Gush Katif, they were fanatic enough to just destroy anything because it was not pure. So you are dealing with this kind of people as well. Unfortunately, this is what is happening right now in Gaza. Most of the people have voted for Hamas and they are under Hamas rule, and there is nothing we can do to help them because each time money arrives in Gaza, the Hamas using it either to build weapons, rockets, to dig tunnels, or to buy themselves amazingly beautiful houses for themselves to live in, or to travel, or to have a harem of women.
This
But
goes against
none
Islam. This goes
sorry?
against. This goes totally
Yeah.
against Islam. To destroy food and to promote to buy weapons. This goes totally
Listen,
against Islam.
you are representing a form of Islam which is pure and honest and which should be spread all around the planet. But unfortunately, like in every civilization, you have a lot of bad people within your civilization, like we have bad people among the Jews, and like they have a lot of bad people among the Christians.
But in the case of Gaza, they are having a lot of power. This is a lot of power. Even in the West Bank, what PLO is saying and doing, it's not, as a civilized human being, I've seen that a female terrorist is now in one of the most famous female terrorists. I forgot her name. She's now in the lawmaking department of Palestine.
Don't even think about that. Just put it this way. The Palestinian Authority receives a lot of money from America, for European Union, and also from Israel because of when they sell things, there are taxes involving customs and stuff like that. They spend 17% of their annual budget to give salaries of terrorists who have been sent to jail. The more,
17%.
yes,
By the
the
PLO.
more by the PLO. I can send you all the proofs, and I can even send you speeches in Arabic from Mahmoud Abbas being very proud of it and saying, if we had only 10 cents left in Palestine, I would give this money to those guys and not to you, the people of Palestine.
Why aren't
because he and all those guys are in Israeli jails.
But
or if
why
they are
is the
dead,
civilized world saying anything about this? This is horrendous. I'm shocked by this.
I know, but the Americans under Trump created a new rule where, as long as the Hamas PLO is sending money to terrorists, they will not receive any money from America anymore. But now that Joe Biden is in power, he's going back to the rules of Obama, and he just sent I don't know how many millions of dollars to Mahmoud Abbas, even though Mahmoud
Abbas. So they are giving money to the terrorists.
They are giving money to the terrorists. Americans are giving money to the terrorists. Europeans are giving money to the terrorists. And Mahmoud Abbas is himself personally spending 17% of his budget to give salaries to terrorists. They calculated that some terrorists, one of the terrorists who killed in her sleep a young girl by slaughtering her, by going within a kibbutz in the Palestinian territories, what they call a settlement. He went inside, he found her asleep in her house, he slaughtered her, ran away, was captured, put in jail. So far, it happened 3 or 4 years ago, he has already received $20,000.
Oh my God.
I'm going to send you a couple of videos about that. You're not going to believe it. When I'm finished...
Why aren't they giving money to the peacemakers? To the ones that are promoting the peace with everyone?
You have to understand, the PLO and the Hamas, they do not want to make peace with Israel. If they wanted to make peace with Israel, peace would have happened a long time ago, because Israel is a very modern country, and we have enough with sending our kids to the army for 3 years instead of sending them to school. We have enough of spending 20% of our budget to the defense. We want to be friends with everybody around it. And we have proven it many times. Number one, we have conquered the Sinai. As soon as we made a deal with Egypt, what did we do? We gave back all of the Sinai to Egypt. We wanted to make peace with the Palestinians. We said, okay, step by step. What did we do? We gave them all of Gaza. What did we have in return? Rockets, 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 and more rockets. We are trying to make peace with the PLO. What are they doing? They are trying to attack us on the International Penal Court. They are trying they are, according to the Oslo Agreement, they are not supposed to open offices at the United Nations and stuff like that. They are doing everything they can to go above us and not negotiate with Israel. Mahmoud Abbas was elected in 2006 for 4 years. That was the last election. We are in 2021. He's still in power. He doesn't want to go.
He promised
he promised elections this year. And as soon as he promised that, everybody was excited. So he found a way to start a war with Israel with the help of the Hamas. That's why we had a war in May. So he had to say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't make elections anymore. Because he knows that if there is election, he's not going to stay in power, etc., etc. He just bought himself, he had built for himself a house for $42 million. He just bought himself
$42 million. He just bought himself more than a king.
$52 million. You see the house, you cannot believe it. Even in Hollywood, even $52 million. In Hollywood, they don't have houses as beautiful as that.
How is this possible amidst all that suffering of Palestinian people? How is this possible?
Because it's all a lie. It's all a big scam, which has been promoted by European Union because they have all kind of interests with the Arabs, and because there is a long history of hatred of the Jews, whether in the Muslim world or in the Christian world. So they are taking advantage of all that. And Yasser Arafat died leaving something like $20 billion to his wife.
$20 billion? To
to
I
his
can't
wife
believe this. I can't
and
believe
daughter.
this. 20
All of the
billion
money was stolen from the Palestinian people. They
Palestinians.
steal everything. Everything which goes to the Palestinian people is stolen by
How is
their
this
leader.
possible?
I'm
Why
going to
aren't
send
the European Union and America, controlling where the money goes? Why aren't they on it? Why are they
they
giving
are,
it to dictate?
and why is not Israel doing something about it? First of all, why is not Israel? Israel is so busy with building a country and fighting wars that they never have time for propaganda, for explaining the situation, for going no, they are, for diplomacy, for anything. It's a crazy situation that we have here. But on the top of that, all those people, they are civil servants. They work in organizations. They work within governments. They don't see. They don't care. They do their job. At the end of the month, they get the salary. And the top leaders, either they are anti-Semites or they have personal interests. They send 10 million. 1 million is going back to their pocket. It's the biggest scam of the history of humanity. Is the Palestinian people. It's the biggest scam ever invented to make money on war, to make money on selling weapons,
How
to make
can we
money on
help these
vaccines.
innocent? Sorry to interrupt you. How can we help this innocent child? Because it's not going
If
to come
she's,
from Hamas. How can we,
if
as the United Nations community,
forget the
help
United
this
Nations, they're the
child?
worst. The United Nations, you have to know that there are only dictatorships. How many democracies and how many dictatorships or communist countries are within the United Nations? Immediately, once you have Russia, China, all of the all of the Arab dictators, all of the African dictators put together, who can face them? Who can make things progress? Can you believe that Iran at the United Nations is right now in charge of the situation of women? Iran, the Ayatollah, the Mullah, they are the ones who are in the United Nations, belong to the main corps of fighting for the rights of women.
Okay.
Iran. It's like giving to Adolf Hitler the right to be in charge of the Jews. Okay, great. Go to the United Nations. That's exactly the same thing that we are doing. We are living in a world where everything is fucked up those days, and there's the level of corruption everywhere is so high that there's very little one can be done about it. But I recommend, and I'm gonna have to go, but I recommend you really to watch a couple of films I'm gonna send you when we're finished. One about the corruption. You're gonna see the real Gaza that you've never seen, that I filmed. You're gonna see the real West Bank that you've never seen, that I filmed. You're going to see Mahmoud Abbas' house that you've never seen before, and it's going to blow your mind. And you're going to hear Palestinian people from the streets talking about the way it really is. You will not believe it.
So the Palestinian people are held hostage by the rulers.
Exactly, they are held hostage everywhere. The ones
How
who
can we do
fled.
something about it? Because I believe, the Jewish nation is a light among the people. So we will need to fix it. They will not fix it. The leaders in Gaza and West Bank will not fix it because they are profiting from it. They are making money from it. So they will not want to fix it. How can it be fixed? Is there a way that we can fix it together?
By spreading the truth, about what is really going on there. Because the media have another problem. The media have another problem. The problem that the media have is very simple. Israel is a democracy. You're not going to be put in jail if you say bad things about the government. You have freedom of speech. In the Palestinian territories, you cannot say anything bad against the Hamas or against the Palestinian Authority. So if you are a journalist, a Westerner journalist, you need an authorization, a card given to you by either the Hamas or the PLO to be able to go to work in the Palestinian territories. Now, if you say anything bad about them, or if you say anything good about Israel, you lose your card and you cannot work. So people prefer to lie and keep their job. And some of them are also corrupted. Some of the journalists are receiving a lot of money.
Receive money.
Yeah, of course. And this is just a big machine of defamation against Israel. And, each time we have people from around the world, including Muslims, visiting Israel and they look at what it is. They say, are you kidding me? What? But I just saw two women wearing a veil in the street, and this one, she's working at a bus station, and that one, she's in a pharmacy, but they are Muslims. Where's the apartheid? What apartheid? What the fuck are you talking about, apartheid? You know, it's all a legend. It's all to bash us and bash us and bash us and bash us. If you see my images, and maybe you want to share them because there's a lot of Arabic spoken in my images, you will be able to help a little bit, help the Palestinians against their own corrupted governments and maybe move forward peace a little bit. So I'm going to send them to you and you'll
yes,
see.
Please.
Okay.
Please send them.
I will in a few minutes, promise. And I have to rush. It's been how long? I promise you half an hour.
I don't know how much you have left because it's according to your time.
No, I have to go. I'm done.
You're done. So then I want to thank you. And is there one last thing you want to say to the Muslim world? Because I'm shocked that terrorism is being spread in the name of Islam and it goes against Islam. Is there one thing you want to say to the Muslim leaders in the world?
Jews can be your friends. Just trust us. We have nothing against Muslims. As long as Muslims do not want to kill us, we do not want to kill them. Right now, we are trying to offer help to Lebanon, even though it's our worst enemy, because Lebanon is in real big trouble. We have organizations within Israel that we send all around the world each time there's a catastrophe. Right now, we send people in Miami, we send people to Haiti, we send people to Japan. Each time there is a catastrophe, we have teams of experts which are being sent to the rest of the world to help if there's a problem. If tomorrow there's a problem in Egypt or Jordan or even Iran, if you ask us, we will be happy to go and help because it's in the Jewish nature. We have a small country, it's called Israel. That's the only one we have. It's not even the size of Holland. It's not even the size of an American state. It's absolutely tiny. And Muslims and Arabs own 99.90% of the rest of the Middle East. Please let us live in peace in our country and we will help you back as much as we can in each time you ask us to do so. That's
Inshallah. Thank you so much, Pierre. I wish you peace and understanding and love within your country and surrounding your country. And I know that with the Abraham Accords, now there are more Arab countries that are seeing that Israel is trying to connect with them and spread peace and living together, just like we lived together in the past. You know, and I hope that it will continue the peace process and that it will reach also this girl in Gaza in her lifetime, that she will be free and have all her rights and cooperate with Israel, just like the Arabs that are living inside of Israel, that she also will have her freedom and her rights.
But you know about this little girl, if she becomes sick, each time a Palestinian family from Gaza has a sick child and they ask Israel organizes everything they can to get the child out of Gaza to an Israeli hospital to save its life.
They pay for everything.
And they pay for everything. It's only the Hamas, because when the parents do that, then they get in trouble with the Hamas. Why did you send your child to Israel? Israel is the enemy. You don't have to do that. They get in trouble. That's why they don't do it. But a lot take the risk, especially when a kid has cancer. There's a special unit in the hospital in the north of Israel that I visited. I can send you also the link. You will see what we do. You will see what we do to Arab children, to Muslim children when they are sick. You will not believe your eyes.
Please continue doing the good work. And, you know, we hope all the children will live in peace and that what you had in your childhood, that in the future, it will not happen again, because children are the future of the world. We need to protect our children and not have these stupid fights about things that don't really matter, to make old men richer and richer, because eventually we will all die. And the only thing we will remember is the person that has done good deeds to other people.
I agree with you. I cannot agree more. My last question is, when do you come visit?
Inshallah, when God provides me to visit, I will visit you with a message of peace.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
Inshallah. Inshallah. Please enjoy yourself and take care. مع
You take
السلامة.
care too. You take care.
Bye bye.
Bye, my
Bye
friend.
bye.
Bye, bye, my friend. Take care.
Take care.